What's going on, everybody? Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Kieran, and I help people using a spiritual perspective. Maybe, I don't know. But today, doing nothing. Title of the video, something or other. I don't know. I don't know the name of the video. Don't question me on it. But I do know that doing nothing is incredibly difficult. Very hard. Maybe not for literally everybody on the planet. Some people are happy, more than happy, to do absolutely nothing, and they have no problem with it. Me, however, I have a difficult time relaxing. My mind, this thing somewhere inside of this large head, is something that keeps going, never stops. It's constantly in motion, grinding gears, overthinking, always honestly living in my head. Most often, very rare that I'm present and feeling joy, which you can really only feel in the present. So a lot of the time that I'm thinking is moments where I'm not really in the present moment, right? Where I'm not living, really. I mean, surviving, I'm alive, of course, but I'm not really enjoying or experiencing life in a raw form. And many people are like that. So we go through our life exhausted, often, all the responsibilities, work, friendships, relationships, family, obligations, taxes, things you got to do, things and then there's different external problems. Sometimes you got a great job, sometimes a bad job. Sometimes you get health issues, sometimes you're healthy, sometimes you got no money, sometimes you got enough money, lots of money, everywhere in between. So the stresses of life get to us. And with the spiritual awakening, there's this sense of awareness, this intuitive call that you know that there's more, that you're more, and yet you still remain the same, mostly, that you still struggle with issues that are weighing you down, right? And for many people, this idea of doing nothing, this beautiful, beautiful idea, calls to us, this idea that we should just meditate, that we should relax, that if we could do that, paradoxically, the answers that we really need in life would come to us, that we would find them, that they would come from within, that they would come up, and we would be in sync with those ideas, with those nudges, those feelings, rather than constantly going online and looking at things, going on our phone, always seeking outside help, outside information, outside clarity, and never relying on our own inner being. So for me, doing nothing is an idea. Doing nothing is something that I've always liked. Like, I know it's real. I know it's true. This idea of caring less to get more. This idea of doing nothing to put you in a position where you can now feel open again, feeling your emotions, things like that, right? All makes perfect sense intuitively. It's just like when someone says, hey, if you want answers, you should meditate, right? But then when people get down to meditating, they're like, what is this shit? It's difficult. I hate it. Doesn't work. And they stop doing it, right? And just like with meditation, we, myself included, often do nothing incorrectly. Because when we think of doing nothing, we have expectations. And I'll give you an example. So when I think of doing nothing, and I, like even today, right, which I'm not doing nothing right now because I'm doing a video, so you can even say I've already failed, right? But besides that, what happens is that there's an expectation. So using myself, I'll think, okay, well, I know that I should do nothing. I need to relax. I need to rest. I need things in my life. I'm scared about the future. Don't know what's going to happen, but I know that if I just relax and I rest, then I will allow space to open up. And from that space, there will be ideas, miracles, intuitive nudges, possible clarity, right? I just know that if I rest and relax, then these things will occur. They will happen, right? So when it comes down to resting, right? Okay, so number one, I don't know, maybe you sleep in, right? I slept in. Woke up at about 11 o'clock today. Maybe I went to bed at 1 a.m. last night. So I slept a sizable amount, let's say, okay? So you wake up and then I think, all right, well, on average, a day like nothing to me, I think, oh, well, then I must meditate. And I have to meditate. I got to find some time to meditate. Okay, so I'll do a guided meditation. Okay, great. That's some stuff that'll help me, And then another part of the day, I'll go, okay, well, then I'll spend 20, 30 minutes just listening, doing nothing, just laying in bed, doing nothing, okay? And then, okay, what else does doing nothing look like? Okay, so maybe I'll just go do the laundry, right? I mean, just go do that. It's not really a big task. I'll do that. It's fine. And then you lay back down. Maybe you meditate again. Maybe you listen to music. You get the point. the idea is that my plan of doing nothing actually involves quite a lot of things. And that's kind of the issue, right? We have this idea, like myself, that doing nothing means something. Because even the act of doing nothing, to physically try to do nothing, is actually doing something. It's you being involved with your mind, planning on how nothing is going to go. And that is, of course, ridiculous, because that's not the point. And that's why meditation is so hard for people, because they try to meditate. They meditate, and then they think, I'm going to get an answer, so I'm going to do this meditation to get an answer, and then you don't get answers, and you think, well, meditation doesn't work, and I hate it, and I'm going to go back to smoking weed, or whatever it is that people do, okay? All of that, completely understandable, understandable mistakes that I've made myself, and many people have as well. The issue, of course, again, doing nothing means having no plans. And it's why so many of us fail at doing nothing. It's why we get halfway through, we do a little bit of it, and then it falls apart. So doing nothing is not necessarily about literally doing nothing. Because if you try to do nothing, you'll end up doing something. Because that's the definition of try. Doing nothing is to have no plans. It's to wake up when you can, when you do. It's to see how the day unfolds. It's, hey, doing something is not wrong when you're, when this idea of doing nothing. It's allowing things to happen, because that's how things happen. Doing nothing means you don't have plans, means you don't have expectations. So waking up and allowing the day to carry you, even if it does involve the physical act of doing something, going for a walk, for instance, that's doing something, that's okay. That makes perfect sense. It will actually help you more than forcing yourself to do something that you think you need to do. Laying in bed for hours at a time, being bored, letting your mind wander, having these ideas like, oh, it's not working. Here I am laying, doing nothing, and I'm not getting any answers. And you start to get frustrated, and then you start doing a bunch of stuff. So in the case of me, the pasty white man with the messy hair before you, in my case, what I end up doing is I'll get halfway through a day doing nothing. Sitting, laying down, meditating, whatever. No answers, of course. Getting frustrated, angry that desperate things that I need, things that I really genuinely need that I'm not going to bother you with, but I could really, 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 really use them, and I don't have them. And I spend this time thinking, well, how can I get them? How can I do that? So these ideas of doing nothing, and I think, well, I know how. I'll do nothing tomorrow. And then halfway through, I just, start going, oh, fuck, it's not working. And you get more anxious because your plans aren't working, your expectations are failing. So, I'll end up going to do something else that I shouldn't do. I throw myself into work, creative pursuits, maybe at the end of the day, I end up, going shopping, spending money. Maybe I escape through something because the pain of doing nothing apparently is too much. So, and then you end up doing something maybe you don't want to, maybe you do want to. That's not even the point either. Maybe you end up smoking weed. Maybe you end up drinking. Maybe you end up going out, spending money. Again, like I said, it ends up spiraling in my case, okay? I can't speak for everybody on this planet, but in my case, I end up spiraling. And it's all just from this act of doing nothing. And I used to think that it was because doing nothing is so painful. Because it's painful to do nothing. To not distract yourself is probably the most painful thing that can ever happen to a human being. To be completely removed of TV, television, screens, other people, drugs, food, just to basically be alive and to exist with your emotions is so, so difficult, right? And that's, of course, why we try to plan our doing nothing. We say, well, I'm going to meditate and I'm going to lay down for hours and I have this idea of how nothing is going to go. But it doesn't make any sense. You can't plan nothing. It's like trying to imagine a universe before the universe. It doesn't work. Your brain would explode. So you can't actually plan nothing. So it's not just the fact that nothing is scary in the sense that you're sitting with your emotions. It only becomes impossible and really scary because we have expectations of how that should go. And I believe that if we didn't have expectations of doing nothing, and you could apply this to many areas of your life, but if we didn't have those expectations, then it's highly, highly likely that space that we're in, that we're just existing in, would go a lot more smoothly. That it would be okay to feel emotions, that it would be all right to do what we need to do, that there's no pressure, that if you want to go for a walk, you should go for a walk. And if you don't want to and you want to watch a movie, then you should watch a movie. And if you want to meditate, you should meditate. But to have the plans of how nothing should go derails the entire process of what you're trying to actually get, that good intention, which was maybe a little bit of peace, a little bit of happiness, a little bit of clarity, right? All those things that you want in that nothingness, they escape, they run away because you're too busy trying to fill that nothingness with something. And that's trying, that's doing, that's the opposite of what you really want. So all I can really say is that for me, and by default, the 17 of you that watch these videos, I don't know who watches these videos, to be honest. I don't care anymore, really. But the point is that for those of you that are watching and for myself, I invite you and me to stop making plans in general, maybe, but to stop trying to plan your nothing days, the days where you just need a goddamn break, where you need to reconnect with yourself. Don't be so hard on yourself. Don't give yourself a rigorous schedule of nothing. Sleep 10 hours, meditate from 11 to 12, sit in bed from 2 to 3, you know what I mean? This is something. It's doing, it's trying. Forget all that shit. Just forget it. It's not bad, it's not good. Just forget about it. Your mind will always think of ways to do something, to figure out a plan, to scheme. Ooh, I love scheming. I'm like Batman with the amount of schemes that I have. But the point is that you can't really rely on it, I suppose. You can't really rely on schemes because schemes are old. It's old news. It doesn't work anymore. There's too many external factors going on. And when the amount of awareness that happens with somebody that, let's say, has some spiritual inclination, some higher wisdom about themselves, the more awareness causes more pain. So there's just more stuff to bother you, really. And things make you feel sensitive, make you feel raw. And we're tough on ourselves. We beat ourselves up. We give ourselves these plans and they don't work because there's too much, too aware of everything else. So the schemes don't work anymore. They won't work with the brain and the mind that you now have, with the perspective and the wisdom, okay? You'll keep trying, of course. That's the point. But ultimately, at some point, we're all going to have to realize that the scheming doesn't work. And that rather than scheming, we should be, though I hate this phrase, co-creating, right? In tandem with the things around us, with our life, we should be meeting it halfway. We shouldn't feel like we're doing all the work. I mean, doesn't it feel like you're doing all the work in your life? That you have to go through so much just to get no results, or tiny little results, that you have to plan, scheme, do, work, expend energy towards. And at the end of the day, it's the same cycle, same shit. Nothing's changed. Still no dream job, still no money, still no romance, still no love, still no husband or boyfriend or wife or whatever. All of that comes still away. So the scheming and the plans don't work, and so we carry that into our doing nothing energy. So there is nothing to do. There's nothing to do, right? You don't have to justify your presence here on earth. You don't have to feel so guilty. You're enough. And in that space of being enough, you might actually find the clarity that you're looking for, ironically, without trying to plan for it. All you really have to do is let yourself exist with your messiness, with your ugliness, with your flaws, with your good sides, your bad sides, your positives, your negatives, all that crap. Exist with it. Don't plan around it. Don't make an excuse for it. Don't rationalize it. Don't justify it. You're you. You exist. Life is shit. Life is good. Doesn't matter. However you feel that. Be that. Exist with that. Don't make plans around it, because there's nothing wrong with you. I mean, there might be something wrong with you, but I'm not there to figure it out, okay? Figure your own problems out. Do all that stuff that you need to do. But there's nothing inherently wrong with you existing, doing nothing, all right? I mean, maybe you got some, things that are going on. Maybe you wear, Crocs. If you're wearing Crocs, there's probably something wrong with you, okay? I can't, I'm just saying. If you're wearing Crocs or socks with sandals and you're going out in public wearing Crocs and socks with sandals, there's probably something wrong with you. But sparing that, your actual presence, your existence here on earth, there's nothing wrong with it. You don't have to justify it. You can do nothing, literally nothing, and you can allow things to unfold. Don't plan for it. Don't try to force yourself to be something, to do something. Allow the clarity to come in. And by letting go of that control, difficult as it may be, we often need to suffer first. This idea of doing nothing, the peace that we're looking for, it will be there. Because trying to constantly do things takes away from what's already there. It muddies the waters, it gets in the way, because the peace that we really want is here. It's already here. It exists just right here in the moment without all the actions, right? Because we take actions. We take a lot of actions to go get peace somewhere else, right? Let's go get peace and happiness and joy and love. But constantly, it's already right here. But we never look at this moment. We never look at it because we're planning. And planning means future. And the future means not present, not here, right? And that's why the peace, people always say to everyone, spiritual masters is always within you. The answers are within you, because nobody really thinks to start here with ourselves. We immediately go look somewhere else and plan for other things. Never really take the time to just appreciate the power that we already have. And we don't do that, maybe because it's scary, maybe because we're trying to plan for that power, we're trying to make schemes, or it could just be that we don't believe it's there.